You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hey, if you're like me, you don't exactly have a ton of time to shop for clothes. My wife is the same way, and she has introduced me to Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is great. You just take a quick style quiz, share your size, your vibe, your budget, and boom, you're matched with a real human stylist who handles the rest. Stitch Fix sends you a fix box with clothes that actually fit and make sense for your life, work, weekends, whatever. Stitch Fix saves you time, you look great, and you don't even have to think about it. And Stitch Fix is no risk, all style. Try Stitch Fix clothes in the comfort of your home. Keep what works, send back the rest. Free shipping and returns always, and no subscription required. Plus, get a free try-on for your first fix. Get started today at StitchFix.com/podcast to get $20 off your first order, and Stitch Fix will waive your styling fee. That's StitchFix.com/podcast. And away we go. Episode 1152 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, and we apparently, hopefully, need not worry about Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels or Commanders punter Tress Way for the team's game at the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football this Thursday night at 8:15. The Commanders on Tuesday for a second consecutive day conducted a walkthrough as opposed to a true practice, and so their injury report for a second consecutive day was an estimation of what would have been the case with a true practice. Jayden Daniels for a second consecutive day was listed as a full participant in practice, but was on the injury report, this due to a right wrist issue. Tress Way was designated as a limited participant in practice for Tuesday. This off for Monday having been designated as not practicing. He's dealing with a back ailment that he suffered in the team's regular season opening 21-6 win over the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium this past Sunday afternoon. Way got hurt on a third quarter 31-yard punt that was partially blocked by edge defender Abdul Carter, who was being blocked by tight end Ben Sinnott. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn, he did a pre-practice press conference on Tuesday afternoon. We, during that presser, had this exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Davala of The Athletic and Quinn.
You guys listed Jayden as on the injury report with a wrist, but he was full in the estimation. Just what's the level of concern there?
We have no level, just trying to, keep it policies and transparency as clear as we can, but zero concerns.
All right, very good to hear that about Jayden Daniels. And we later, in the Dan Quinn pre-practice press conference on Tuesday afternoon, had this exchange between Commanders insider Ben Standig and Quinn.
Speaking of the injury report, Tress Way, what's your sense of his status this week?
Yeah, I'd say similar to Jayden. I'm feeling good. He's improving, and he'll get some kicks in tomorrow, and then get him ready to play.
Okay, so it does sound like Jayden Daniels and Tress Way should be good to go for Thursday night, although the Commanders on Tuesday did work out to punters, perhaps due diligence. Hello and welcome to this Wednesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. We are just a day away from Commanders at the Packers, and so next segment, a special guest, Steve Czaban, my buddy, my pal. I worked with Czabe for years. He now has a podcast, the CzabeCast, and is the host of the Steve Czaban Show on 97.3 The Game in Milwaukee. And we next segment are going to talk about a lot, including him having renounced his Washington fandom and become a Packers fan, what to make of the Packers trade for edge defender Micah Parsons, how good the Packers defense is, how good Packers quarterback Jordan Love is, potential fatal flaws for the Packers this season, and what Czabe thinks about Jayden Daniels and the Commanders. Steve Czaban, the Czabe, next segment on Commanders at the Packers. And also on the show, I'll talk Nationals and Orioles. The Nats won for the 7th time in 8 games, a 7-5 win at the Miami Marlins on Tuesday evening, despite the Nats allowing 4 runs over the final 2 innings to trim a 7-1 lead to 7-5. The O's won for the 7th time in 9 games, a 3-2 11-inning walk-off win over the Pittsburgh Pirates at Oriole Park at Camden Yards on Tuesday evening in a game in which the O's blew a 2-1 9th-inning lead. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Dr. CCB, who wrote this email while she was at the Commanders' win over the Giants at Northwest Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Writes Dr. CCB, hope you and your family are doing well here at the game, early third quarter, and can you say frustrated? What is going on with all of the penalties? Is it nerves or being undisciplined? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for the email, Dr. CCB. The Commanders on Sunday afternoon committed 14 total penalties, including 12 accepted penalties for 89 yards. Unacceptable totals, of course. And remember, the Commanders in their preseason opening 48-18 loss at the New England Patriots on August 8th committed 13 accepted penalties for 98 yards. Now, the Commanders for the 2024 regular season were pretty good at not committing penalties, 127 total penalties, tied for the 18th most in the NFL, so I'm not ready to say that the team has a penalty problem. Let's see more than one game for the team in this regular season. But what was so frustrating with the Commanders' penalties on Sunday afternoon was that so many of them were pre-snap penalties. Tight end Zach Ertz committed a 5-yard false start penalty. Running back Austin Eckler committed a 5-yard false start penalty. Receiver Noah Brown committed a 5-yard offside penalty. Edge defender Von Miller committed a 5-yard offside penalty. All penalties are bad, but you can live with action penalties, penalties of aggression. Pre-snap penalties are the worst. Email from Elliot on Jayden Daniels off the 3-part series by NFL writer Tyler Dunn of GoLongTD.com on the Chicago Bears drafting and handling of quarterback Caleb Williams, who they took with the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft out of USC. 1 pick before the Commanders took Jayden Daniels with the number 2 overall pick out of LSU. Tyler Dunn, a friend of this podcast, he was on episode 1095 talking about Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, and this series on Caleb Williams has been tremendous. I'm sure that many of you have read it. Writes Elliot, hi Al, big fan of the show. You do it best. After watching Jayden Daniels in week 1 and reading part 1 of the House of Dysfunction piece on Caleb Williams, I couldn't help but circle back to what Adam Peters pulled off in that 2024 draft cycle. It's becoming clearer by the week that Peters didn't just want Jayden. Peters knew exactly how to manage the optics around this. He wanted Daniels, and at the same time made absolutely sure that the Bears did not start second-guessing their decision to go with Caleb. What stood out in the article was just how deep the concerns around Caleb were from the jump. The piece describes how he brushed off coaches mid-conversation, demanded the snap count be simplified to set go, and came off as visibly disengaged in film study. At one point, Bear staff had to wonder if the guy even wanted to be coached. And remember, this wasn't year 2, this was rookie minicamp. That's the part that makes me respect Peters even more. There were whispers before the draft that Caleb might not want to play in Chicago, trade rumors, manufactured drama, but you never heard a peep about Washington being in the mix or Peters reaching out to Caleb's camp. There was no panic, no playing the media game. In hindsight, it's almost as if Peters made sure to not show too much love to Jayden publicly so that Chicago wouldn't flinch and rethink Caleb. And honestly, that's what makes the Topgolf redraft event even more interesting in retrospect. A little chaotic, sure, but despite the outside noise and even some agent frustration at the time, Peters never wavered. He didn't overplay his hand or lose his guy. He made his pick, stuck to his board, and walked away with a quarterback who already looks like the face of the franchise. One game into Daniels' sophomore year, and it's hard not to feel like we got the right guy, not just a quarterback, but running the front office. Appreciate everything you do on the podcast, especially how you stay grounded in logic when everyone else is chasing narratives. Just wanted to share that take. Well, thank you very much for that email, Elliot. We as Commanders fans should thank the football gods every day that the Bears in the 2024 NFL Draft took Caleb Williams at 1, leaving Jayden Daniels for our team at 2. Caleb Williams is very talented. He, of course, is a local, went to Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C., and I do think that he could work out as an NFL quarterback, especially with a smart offensive guy in Ben Johnson now as the Bears head coach. But there are big-time red flags with Caleb Williams, no doubt. This series by Tyler Dunn highlights those red flags, and also how messed up the Bears are. Part 2 of the series had the headline, quote, House of Dysfunction Part 2, inside the Chicago Bears rigged trial at number 1 overall, end quote. And the piece contained the following regarding the Bears' evaluation of Jayden Daniels, quote, the Heisman Trophy winner who filleted defenses with horsepower the sport hadn't seen since Lamar Jackson was never a serious contender for the number 1 pick. Not once, sources in the room say, did Bears general manager Ryan Poles open up the floor to ask a simple question. Who's a better quarterback, Caleb Williams or Jayden Daniels? Jayden Daniels was clearly a better quarterback, says one scout. If he didn't want to go with Drake May, Jayden Daniels was clearly a better quarterback to anyone with an eye. End quote. How about that? Not once did Ryan Poles ask the most basic and obvious question. Who's better, Caleb Williams or Jayden Daniels? Tyler Dunn was on The Herd with Colin Cowherd on FS1 and Fox Sports Radio on Monday afternoon. Take a listen to this from Dunn.
I think that roles were really reversed in this case. The Chicago Bears were not interviewing Caleb Williams to be their quarterback, to be their selection number 1 overall. After talking to coaches and scouts and personnel men and GMs across the NFL, they paint a picture in our series where really the Bears were in full-fledged recruiting mode. They're trying to convince the first NIL superstar to play for them. And look, justifiably so, as we get into the dysfunction there in Chicago is very deep-rooted, like you said. But I think that it really did sift onto the football field early. OTAs, training camp. You've got a guy like John Jackson III, who I was told really has no business being in the NFL by GMs, but that's Caleb Williams' best friend, so he's on the practice squad. He wants to change the cadence, so they go to a basic ready, set, go. They eliminate checks. They eliminate audibles. They kind of try to make this thing as Caleb-friendly as possible, and it's a tough middle ground because you got to tailor an offense to your talented quarterback, but at the same time, there has to be some type of coaching, some type of authority. And I talked to several coaches who basically said, like, the moment that we were around Caleb Williams, there was an entitlement, there was a disrespect, there was, you try to tell him something, coach him up, offer some constructive criticism, he would turn around and walk the other direction. It happened early, and it continued right on through that Seattle Thursday night game that we lead the entire series with. So it was bad. They'd be in meetings. I had a coach tell me that he'd ask Caleb Williams a question in a meeting, and he would just look at him and not say anything. Like, why are you asking me a question? Many specific examples cited. And you know what? The Bears coaches are not completely innocent in this regard, and they'd be the first to tell you. They really did twist and contort and try to change everything they were offensively for Caleb Williams. So by the time they wanted to get tough with him, by the time they wanted to hold him accountable, and yes, there were players that wanted Tyson Bagent to be their starter last year, and Ryan Poles said absolutely not. By that time, and when Thomas Brown becomes the interim head coach and he's being old school, he's being hard-nosed, it was too late. So maybe Ben Johnson with a full offseason is exactly what Caleb Williams needs.
Man, how about all of that? Assuming that all of that is true, and I have no reason to believe that all of that isn't true, Tyler Dunn is a really good reporter. How off-putting is that behavior from Caleb Williams? I mean, that a coach said that he in a meeting asked Williams a question, and Williams wouldn't respond to the question. What are we talking about here?
They'd be in meetings. I had a coach tell me that he'd ask Caleb Williams a question in a meeting, and he would just look at him and not say anything. Like, why are you asking me a question?
Yeah, how awful is that behavior by Caleb Williams, and how much does all of this make us more thankful than our team has Jayden Daniels? All right, football season is underway. Summer grilling season may be winding down, but fall grilling season is coming. Now is the perfect time to get yourself or someone who you care about Omaha Steaks, and here is a great deal for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during Omaha Steaks' Red Hot Sale event, and for an extra $35 off, use the promo code ALGALDI at checkout. Omaha Steaks food is outstanding. Steaks, chicken, hamburgers, hot dogs, delicious desserts. All of it is so good. We just had the beef sirloin tips for the first time. Amazing. To all of my fellow meatheads trying to pack on muscle, get your protein from Omaha Steaks. There's no risk. Every bite is backed by a 100% guarantee, and you're supporting one of this country's great companies. Omaha Steaks is a family-owned company that has been America's original butcher since 1917. Treat yourself and your family or someone who you care about to Omaha Steaks and take advantage of the great deal for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during Omaha Steaks' Red Hot Sale event, and for an extra $35 off, use the promo code ALGALDI at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with the promo code ALGALDI at checkout. See site for details. Well, if you're like me, you care about your car, but you're not the biggest fan of having to get work done on your car. This is where Rhoda comes in. Rhoda is a DMV-based auto shop that makes taking care of your car so easy, it feels like magic. Rhoda has a team of best-in-the-business technicians who can service any make and model across any maintenance or repairs and detailing. With over 1,000 Google reviews, Best Auto Shop on Yelp, and Nextdoor awards, your neighbors are loving Rhoda, and you will too. Rhoda is tremendous. You can book any car service online in under 3 minutes. Rhoda offers free towing or valet. Rhoda literally will pick up your car and bring it to the shop in Rockville, Maryland, service the car, and return it to you. Over 80% of Rhoda services are done on the same day on which they're booked. Rhoda offers price matching, honest flat pricing, and financing. Rhoda offers free inspections on your car and shares everything found via video and pictures. Drivers approve only what they want to. Visit Rhoda.com, that's RODA.com, and use the promo code GALDI20 for 20% off any service. That's Rhoda.com, promo code GALDI20 for 20% off any service.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hey, if you are listening to this podcast via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can rate the podcast with a star rating. 5-star ratings are greatly appreciated. They help us out a lot. Thank you for doing them. Commanders at the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football this Thursday night at 8:15. Each team is coming off a win in Week 1 of the NFL's 2025 regular season. The Commanders a 21-6 win over the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium this past Sunday afternoon. The Packers a 27-13 win over the Detroit Lions this past Sunday. Commanders at the Packers Packers, a battle of two teams expected to be among the best in the NFC this season, and a battle of two teams for which our next guest has been a fan. I am very pleased to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast, Steve Czaban. I have known Czabe since 1999, worked with him at WTEM in various capacities for years, did updates on Czabe's national radio show, The Steve Czaban Show, on Fox Sports Radio and Sporting News Radio / Yahoo Sports Radio for years. So Czabe has a podcast, the CzabeCast. Czabe is the host of The Steve Czaban Show on 97.3 The Game in Milwaukee. And yes, as many of you know, Czabe several years ago made the transition from being a Washington fan to being a Packers fan. You could follow Czabe on X at Czabe, CZABE. Czabe, great to talk to you, man. How are you?
We are enemies for the next 48 hours, just so you know that. This is it. Packers, Commanders. No, you don't buy it?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I feel like there's still a part of you.
I feel like there's a part of me that's a Commander fan. I am not. If they were the Redskins again, then I'd have a real conundrum on my hands. Then I would have to reapply for citizenship. But I would need the name Redskins, and I would need the actual logo. A full restoration, not a halvesy, where they're like the Warriors, and they've got like the logo sort of maybe like it was ripped out of my gut. Galdi, I know you're younger than I am, but I mean, the best of days, the early 80s to mid 80s, you were how old? 5?
I was born in December 1979, so I do not remember the early portion of the Redskins' glory days.
Yeah, I'm super happy for you, super happy for everybody in my media circles in D.C. that gets to cover a competent organization. I mean, you and I and Andy and Solly sat through some of the most absurd stuff ever with Dan Snyder. And so to see this new ownership group and to see everything turning up roses and to see Jayden Daniels, oh my God. I am a little worried about Jayden Daniels, although Micah Parsons put him on the ground quite a bit in their 2 meetings last year. And you're starting this new right tackle, this first-round pick of yours.
Yeah, Josh Connerly Jr.
Buckle up, Josh, because number one is coming. Micah Parsons was incredible to watch. I was at the game on Sunday. I'll be there on Thursday. Do you want to come up for the game, by the way?
Absolutely. I'd love to hang out with you for that
game. Just to watch Parsons impact the game, it's significant. But that's why he's getting paid $1 trillion. So, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, it's a 3.5-point spread. I do not take the Commanders lightly. I don't think the Packers will either. But they had a great opening week against the Lions. So we'll see if that continues 4 days later.
The Packers trading for edge defender Micah Parsons, getting him on August 28th from the Dallas Cowboys for interior defensive lineman Kenny Clark and first-round picks in the 2026 and 2027 NFL drafts, and then signing Parsons to a mega money contract extension. There are the concerns about the back of Parsons. There is the reporting that he was not especially well-liked by Cowboys players. Are you a fan of the Packers having traded for Parsons?
Well, the first thing I said when this was being talked about, and then when it came to fruition was, well, I just hope he loves football. You and I have seen too many guys who don't love football. They like being rich. They like being famous in football. They like the trappings of football. But do you love ball, as they say? Those concerns, not that they were really concerns, they were just curious. I was just curious. Like, I know he does a podcast. I know there was supposedly friction with Dak on that. Those concerns were laid to rest after I heard him speak following the game on Sunday, in which he raved about Lucas Van Ness, this first-round pick out of Iowa, who has been pretty much a bust so far. And Van Ness had 4 pressures, thanks in part to Parsons wrecking Penei Sewell. And he said, you know what? I think Lucas is going to have his best season yet. In fact, I'm going to make sure of it. I love this guy. He's an unselfish player. He'll do whatever it takes. And I really think that with our cheetah package, he's going to thrive. I'm like, bro, you've been here 5 minutes. Like, that's a very nice thing to say about a teammate that you just got to know. So I'm not super concerned. I think he loves ball. He is a difference maker. He's at part of the 5-6 elite game records at defensive end. You can pick which 5 or 6 you like, whether you want to put Max Crosby in that or not. The better the Bosa boys is in there. Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt when healthy. I mean, there's your basic five. Parsons is one of those guys. So they paid a lot, Galdi, but it was because they had clean books. Their GM, Brian Gutekunst, is a really good GM in my opinion, and he was minding the store all along to go, okay, we don't want to tie up too much cap space. I mean, if Jerry hadn't fucked up his cap, sorry, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's
okay. Well, I don't want to do whatever I want. I want to maintain the Galdi standards. If Jerry had not screwed up his cap, then they would have been able to pay him. But I believe the number, if you had taken half of the difference between what Dallas offered and Green Bay, that number would have pushed the Dak, CD, Micah trio to like 55% of the cap. And there's pretty much no precedent for a team putting over half their cap in three guys. So they didn't have the money to do it, but the Packers have all these young wide receivers, many of whom are coming up on contracts. They have a number of other young draft picks. They had a clean sheet money-wise. They actually saved some money by sending Kenny Clark off in return, that they were able to pull this off. And so that's why I think, there were stories that he could have gone to the Eagles. That would have sucked for you, right? And the Eagles technically offered more, but Jerry's like, I don't want to send him in division. But you gotta have clean books if you're gonna make a purchase of this size, and then you better be right about the player. He better love football first. So I'm not worried.
The Packers defense did really well in the win over the Lions. Is this, in fact, a very good Packers defense?
Funny is last year, so when they added Parsons, I tweeted from the golf course without looking it up. I'm like, they could be a top 10 defense, maybe better with Parsons. And I didn't check. They were sixth in points, seventh in yards allowed. But I never felt like they were that good. So people, of course, Galdi, flood my mentions. They were already a top 10 defense. And I'm like, well, every year is a new year. But okay, it's obviously going to help the defense a lot. I looked it up. So I said, all right, hold on a second. Let me go look at the quarterbacks they played last year. And I quickly realized they played Anthony Richardson, stinks. Will Levis, the Netflix quarterback. That would be I call him that because it's like if Netflix made a TV show, they'd hire him. They'd be like, hey, Will Levis, you look like a quarterback. Go play him. Stinks, okay? They played Spencer Rattler, terrible. They caught the Niners with Brandon Allen, terrible. They caught Stafford without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and their third guy. So like 5 games right away were severely lightened because they played against crap quarterbacks. They all had bad games. Then I looked at in division, and last year the Packers defense in division, the 3 quarterbacks they faced, the 6 games where they went 1-5, by the way. Goff, the kid who went to Seattle, and then Caleb Williams, the Jets guy who went to Seattle. Name, line, please, Galdi.
Sam Darnold. Caleb
Williams, and Jared Goff. Those 3 guys, what do you think their completion percentage was against the Packers D last year?
Well, by the way you set that up, I'm sure the number is high, but I will say 65.
75. They had a passer rating of 107.9. So in other words, my hunch was right in that when they faced a competent quarterback on a decent team, Packers defense didn't really put up much resistance. They did not have a single guy with double-digit sacks. They haven't had a double-digit sack guy since Zadarius Smith in like 2018, and I believe it's the 3rd longest drought in the league. So they were not a game-wrecking defense. They had some good players. This guy, Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M, he's going to be an absolute problem because he started slow last year and then back half of the year started to show out. So I think this year they're going to make a jump. Last year's defense, not as good as people think or the statistics would say. This year's defense could be really, really good. Could be. We got to remember, 1 game, right? It's a 1-game, week-to-week league, right?
Very true. The Packers QB1, Jordan Love. Any complaints, or is he a true, legitimate top 10-ish quarterback in the NFL?
He's sneaky good because he doesn't have any like superpowers that jump out at you. He's not going to wow you. The The highlights aren't going to be there. He's not going to stiff-arm dudes like Josh Allen. He's not going to run away from you like Lamar Jackson. But he knows how to play the position. He wasn't healthy last year on two fronts, with knee injury in Brazil, then later on a groin injury in Jacksonville. But he played through it for the most part, missed a couple games. He's good. Like, as a Packer fan, I'm happy he's the quarterback because not only is he good and he makes things look clean and effortless when things are right, his coach, Matt LaFleur, said, you know what? It's not just that he's good playing. He said he's about the right shit. That's what LaFleur said. He's about the right shit in life and in football. Like, he sat, Galdi, behind Rodgers for 3 years as a first-round pick. Now, granted, low first-round pick, but a first-round pick nonetheless. How many guys do you know that would have the patience to go, okay, when am I going to get to play here? I'm a first-round pick. He sat and he waited, and when he got his turn, he fucking balled out, and then he got paid big money. Where does he rank? I mean, he's not one of the superhero quarterbacks in the league, but he's really, really good. And if Golden, their rookie out of Texas, becomes what they think he can become, look out. Could be a big year.
The Packers took Jordan Love with the number 26 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft out of Utah State. That he did not become the Packers QB1 until the 2023 season created the perception that the Packers believed that they blew it in drafting him, that he just wasn't any good. Did the Packers all along believe that he'd be good, or are they as surprised as most other people are at how good he has been?
I think they knew all along that he was going to be good. They felt like knowing him. They're like, this guy's going to be good. He's got the right stuff. He's putting in the work, and we're good. But you never know till you put him out there, right? And I said stupidly on the Rodgers front 6 years ago, I said, I want Rodgers now, Rodgers tomorrow, Rodgers forever. I said, run the wheels off of Rodgers because the odds, Packer fans, are going to get a third straight, either Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame or All-Pro quarterback in a row. Like, come on. You've been living a charmed life. You had Favre to Rodgers. It's the hardest position to staff in the NFL. So run the wheels off of Rodgers, then figure it out. No, we're going to layer in the next guy. So all the while that Jordan Love is sitting there, I'm going, I don't know. What if he sucks? He could stink. But I'm pleasantly happy to say that I don't think he stinks.
Much more with Steve Czaban in moments. Are you looking to upgrade the heart of your home? Whether it is time to repair your gas fireplace, modernize your hearth, or simply add more comfort and style, Nova Fireplace and Stove is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for heat, safety, and home transformation. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed and insured company with over-the-top credentials, gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Nova Fireplace and Stove has a beautiful showroom in Woodbridge, Virginia. That's where your dream fireplace begins. Come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace. From sleek and modern to rustic and cozy, Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements, and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Every job includes a free in-home estimate, and for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. So stop by the showroom, see what's possible, and let Nova Fireplace and Stove help you bring warmth, safety, and style to your space. You can also visit NovaFireplaceandStove.com. Nova Fireplace and Stove, where comfort meets craftsmanship and your fireplace becomes the heart of your home. We're talking Commanders at the Packers on Thursday Night Football with Steve Czaban, host of the CzabeCast podcast and of the Steve Czaban Show on 97.3 The Game in Milwaukee. What are the potential fatal flaws for the Packers this season?
I said prior to this year that I never felt a sense of urgency, that I didn't feel like the team vibrated with the sense of, hey, we need to fucking win something. And I went on a rant one day about, hey, are you going to win anything ever? Because they're like the organization, like, we're the Packers. We do everything right. We draft our own guys. Our cap is in good shape. We're the super nice place, and Lambeau Field's beautiful, and we go to the playoffs. It's like a college program saying, we'll go to a bowl game every year. And I had to be the East Coast asshole guy that said, hey, when was the last time you were in the Super Bowl? Oh, 2010. Okay. Before that, the 90s. Oh, okay. Yeah, Titletown. All right. Win something is what I said, because I just didn't feel like, and this is the dynamic. This is me coming from a billionaire owner franchise with an impatient, idiotic billionaire in Snyder, and he's not the only one, leaning on the organization of win, win, win. Let's win something, right? And it's a totally different dynamic. The Packers are exceedingly well run, but I just kind of felt at times like there wasn't the needed urgency. But then this offseason, Gutekunst said it's time we go out and compete for championships. And they just sunsetted Mark Murphy, the team president, which is the closest thing to being an owner, because they've got a law that says, a bylaw in the books that says you can't hold the job over 70, which, by the way, I wish we had for president in this country, but that's a separate conversation. So with him out, they got this guy, Ed Policy, the son of Carmen. And I think everyone looked around like, well, a new guy who says our jobs are going to be safe if we go 11-7, make the playoffs as a wild card, and then flame out, be a one-and-done, one-pump chump. So I think there was that feeling of, okay, now's the time to do it. Then the Parsons trade just kind of materialized in the spring, and they didn't really get serious until the very end. Everyone assumed he was going to stay with Dallas. So I think the fatal flaw would just be they don't have that kind of urgency. Or a number one wide receiver. I'm still a believer, I don't know about you, that there's a real benefit in this league to having a guy that you can target 12 times a game, and it's good strategy to say we're going to feed 12 targets. The whole spreading around thing, well, we got this guy and this guy and that guy and this guy and this guy does this. You need one son of a bitch who's going to get you a first down. So we'll see if that guy emerges.
The Commanders and Packers are viewed as two of the best teams in the NFC. What is the Steve Czaban take on the conference this season?
I mean, it's the Eagles. I still think the Lions are going to be okay. They got to sort out their interior line situation. They were a train wreck because they got a new center, new right guard. They'll still be good, I think. I think the Commanders are good and on the right track. I don't know, though, and this is where you can tell me, you can educate me a bit. I don't know how much of a career year do you think some of the guys had last year, putting Daniels aside. You know, guys like Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner and Noah Brown. I mean, there was a lot of careering it, and there was a lot of miracle escapes. The law of averages, you being a baseball guy knows that, eventually you revert a little bit back. But they've added guys as well, and I think once you get a taste of winning, and when you have the quarterback, you're going to win a lot of games with a quarterback who is healthy. And for you guys, knock on glass, I do hope Jayden Daniels healthy. I just want to beat him this week. Other than that, I love watching him. So I like Quinn. I like Daniels. I think they should be in the mix. How did you feel about week one against the G-Men?
Yeah, my overall take with the Commanders' win over the Giants is that the Commanders were far from at their best and yet still won by 15 points and were in control the entire game is maybe the greatest sign yet of the progress made by the team. Jayden Daniels has raised the floor by so much to where even a B-/C+ performance by the team can result in a 15-point win.
He's like an RG3 that can throw precisely and is really good at reading defenses.
And Jayden Daniels, in terms of work ethic and attitude and football intellect, is off the charts. During the opening segment of the show, talked about that 3-part series by NFL writer Tyler Dunn of GoLongTD.com on the Chicago Bears drafting and handling of Caleb Williams. And you read the stuff about him off what we have experienced with Jayden Daniels night and day with those two quarterbacks.
Yeah, and they never kicked the tires in reality on Daniels. They said they had a process, but it was like a foregone conclusion that they were going to take Caleb Williams. And even if, say, half of the stuff in that Tyler Dunn article is not true, well, the half that is true is bad enough.
It's horrible. Doing sports talk radio in Milwaukee, I know that the number one team forever is the Packers. Is number two the Brewers or the Bucks?
Galdi, it's the Brewers, baby. You have no idea the love affair this city has with their baseball team. It's the baseball team that had Hank freaking Aaron. It's the baseball team that had Robin Yount. Molitor and Yount are gods in this town, in this state. The 82 Brewers that lost the World Series had a documentary done about them. It was just released. This town loves its Brewers, and this has been an amazing season. I want to believe, and we'll see, the playoffs are they're so luck infused now because of the way there's so many layers of it. Team can get hot, whatever. I want to believe this is the 2015 Royals all over again. A team that had been sowing the seeds of young, cheap talent, pre-arbitration eligible. Because really, Tom Arnold, the GM who took over for Stearns, who went to the Mets, has done a great job as well. And they just have layers of young guys. And it's all come together. And then you lose your manager, who is a hometown guy in Council, but just a drip of a personality for this awesome old school, looks like he's been punched in the face a million times, Pat Murphy. They call him Patches O'Houlihan from the movie Dodgeball, and he's amazing. He's great. He's blunt. He's direct. The players freaking love him. But they got the pitching, Galdi. They got the pitching to get it done if healthy. Can they slug is the question. Do you believe you got to slug in October to win it all?
Well, a team can win a World Series in a variety of ways. There's no one way, but when you look at things like hitting for power, starting pitching, relief pitching, you do have to have at least one of those things be really good. The Milwaukee Brewers, to me, are one of the most resilient teams in sports. Losing their president of baseball operations, David Stearns, in October 2022. He stepped down. October 2023 was hired by the New York Mets to be their president of baseball operations. November 2023, the Brewers manager, Craig Counsell, left to become the Chicago Cubs manager. And yet the Brewers, who of course don't exactly have a sky-high payroll, are in the midst of a 9th consecutive winning regular season.
Yeah, they've definitely punched above their weight class in terms of the money. And you got to be very nimble about that. You got to have a great scouting department that actually gets good players and not turds that can't play in the major leagues. So, yeah, it's been a fun ride. The one thing I fear is that baseball is meant to break your heart. I think Bart Giamatti said that, and it was designed to do so. And there's a high likelihood that they will have their heart broken at some point along the way. I just want the ride to last longer. Last year when Pete Alonso daggered him, and it was like everyone knew that it was not so well hid secret that Uke was in his dying days, fighting off cancer quietly, still broadcasting though. Man, Euchre's passing, that's as big of a sports death I've ever seen and experienced anywhere, because he was Milwaukee and represented the city in pop culture and television, Hollywood and more, Miller Lite commercials, and was such a great broadcaster. Like, you would have loved this, Galdi, as a baseball guy. So it was only a couple years ago, not that long ago. And I'm listening to a Brewer game on the radio, and Uke's calling the game. And, you get up there in age like he was like 92 years old. You start to lose, your fastball. You forget names, like I've forgotten two already on this podcast here. And yet he's so smooth and so good. He's calling the game, and he talks about how some player on the other team missed a day because he just got a tattoo. And then, he's like, here's the one and all. That's outside for a ball, 2-0. I was thinking about getting a tattoo myself. And here's third pitch, and it's in there for a strike, 2-1. And then his partner goes, really? Tattoo? And he's like, yeah. I was thinking about getting one on my back, maybe, like a big eagle or something like that. And here's the 2-1 pitch. That one's fouled out of play, 2-2. Really, a big eagle, huh? And this went on, Galdi, for several minutes. Uke was killing me. He was cracking me up as he told this story in between pitches of he's thinking about getting a giant eagle tattoo on his back.
Bob Uecker's sense of humor is all time. I don't know if you've ever seen his speech for when he received the Ford C. Frick Award at the National Baseball Hall of Fame, July 2003, but that speech is hysterical. That speech is like a stand-up act.
Well, we played all of the great iconic clips of Uke when he passed, including all of his Tonight Show appearances.
Yeah.
And they're so good, and what made him so funny was his sense of timing, where Johnny Carson would say, so you were a catcher for the you were a catcher for the Cardinals, and he interjects, he goes, chaser. And little jokes like that, the timing, and he would insert those. So yeah, it's going to be a fun October, but these playoffs, there's so many teams in the playoffs. It's like some random team is probably going to get in there and win.
Well, listen, my friend, very good to talk to you. Thursday night will be a battle, but we look forward to it.
May nobody get hurt. And we will save bragging rights for whoever is the victor.
Yes, sir. Steve Czaban, host of the CzabeCast podcast and of the Steve Czaban Show on 97.3 The Game in Milwaukee. Thanks a lot, Czabe.
Thanks, Galdi.
All right. The NACE Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, it will fight for you and win for you. Just recently, an $8 million jury verdict in Baltimore City Circuit Court in a case in which the NACE Law Group represented the family of a 42-year-old man who died after a simple procedure. Lead attorney Chris Nace, he is a big Commanders fan. He is a big supporter of this podcast, and his firm wins trials. If you have a case, contact the NACE Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The NACE Law Group is tremendous. It is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. Lead attorney Chris Nace is an experienced trial attorney who is not afraid to take cases to trials, and that's because the NACE Law Group wins trials. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the NACE Law Group and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the NACE Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The NACE Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. Well, we on Tuesday afternoon had reports of candidates to become the head of baseball operations for the Nationals. Among those candidates, Chicago Cubs general manager Carter Hawkins. So Hawkins is the Cubs GM, but he works under Jed Hoyer, who is the Cubs president of baseball operations. Hawkins absolutely should be a candidate to run Nats baseball ops, and this may be a search for which there is resolution by the end of the regular season. From Barry Zverluga, columnist for the Washington Post, in a post on X on Tuesday evening, quote, on the national search for a new head of baseball operations, since with several execs/agents around the sport, this is a legit search. Target does seem to be to finish up by the end of the season. Everyone expects interim Mike DiBartolo to get a look too. End quote. What the Nats 100% need, and I've talked about this, is a head of baseball ops who gets the team to the forefront of MLB in terms of analytics. The team is way behind right now, but getting to that forefront is going to require spending big on infrastructure. Is Nats ownership, the Lerner family, willing to do that? That is a big question. And so I do wonder if Carter Hawkins is as much interviewing the Nats as they are interviewing him. Meantime, the Nats have won 7 of their last 8 games. Tuesday evening, a 7-5 win at the Miami Marlins in Game 2 of a 4-game series. The Nats won despite allowing 4 runs over the final 2 innings to trim a 7-1 lead to 7-5. The Nats in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 60-84, worst record in the National League East, second worst record in the National League. But the Nats now are 4.5 games behind the Atlanta Braves for 4th in the NL East, and 5.5 games behind the Marlins for 3rd in the NL East. The Nats actually have a shot at finishing 3rd in the division. Good offense for the Nats in this game. 7 runs, 10 hits, 4 walks, 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The 10 hits were 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 6 singles. Josh Bell is on fire. He's like this. He's so streaky. When he's bad, he's really bad. But when he's good, he's quite good. Bell, as the Nats starting first baseman and number 3 batter, went 1 for 4 with a 3-run homer and an RBI sac fly. Bell and the Nats 3-run first had a 3-run homer to right field for a 3-0 Nats lead. The homer went a projected 409 feet per StatCast. Bell, over the first 2 games of this series, has 10 RBI. He now has 4 home runs over the last 3 games. Now, none of this really means anything for the Nats. Josh Bell is a veteran on a 1-year contract. The Nats are a team in a rebuild that isn't working, but Bell right now is doing really well. Also doing really well right now is Dalen Lyle. He is the Nats starting DH and number 4 batter, went 2 for 5 with a solo homer and a single. Lyle in the Nats 1-run 5th had a leadoff homer to right field for a 6-1 Nats lead. The homer went a projected 410 feet per StatCast. James Wood, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, went 2 for 4 with a double, a single, a walk, and an RBI fielder's choice grounder. CJ Abrams, he is the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, went 2 for 4 with a double, a single, a walk, and a stolen base. And Brady House, he is the Nats starting third baseman and number 7 batter, went 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a walk. Did commit a fielding error in the Marlins' 3-run ninth. But good to see key young Nats players do well. Lyle, Wood, Abrams, House. Also, Riley Adams, he is the Nats starting catcher and number 6 batter, went 0 for 1. He left the game in the bottom of the second due to taking a foul ball in his groin area. Hopefully he's okay, but amazingly, this happened 3 years to the day of the Nats on September 9th, 2022, placing catcher Keibert Ruiz on the 10-day injured list due to a testicular contusion that he suffered in an 11-6 win at the St. Louis Cardinals on September 8th. 2022. The Nats starting pitcher in this 7-5 win at the Marlins on Tuesday evening was Mitchell Parker. He was good. He officially allowed 2 runs in 7 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, which were a home run, a double, and 2 singles. He issued 2 walks. He recorded just 2 strikeouts, but he threw a lot of strikes, 96 pitches, 62 strikes, 34 balls. So both of the walks and one of the singles that he allowed came in a 1-run 8th for the Marlins, and the run scored with Parker out of the game. He is having a really bad season, but this was a good outing. Not good in this 7-5 win at the Marlins on Tuesday evening was the Nats bullpen. 3 Nats relievers officially combined to allow 3 runs in 1 1/3 innings. P.J. Poulin officially tossed a third of a scoreless inning, but he in the bottom of the 8th to the first batter he faced gave up a 2-out, bases-loaded opposite field RBI single by Agustin Ramirez to right field to cut the Nats lead to 7-2. Cole Henry officially allowed 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. He in the bottom of the 9th officially allowed 3 runs on a double, a single, a hit by pitch, and a wild pitch. And so Nats interim manager Miguel Cairo, in a game in which the Nats entered the bottom of the 9th with a 7-2 lead, went to his closer / ace reliever Jose A. Ferrer. Ferrer officially tossed a third of his scoreless inning, though he did allow an inherited runner to score. But his time in the game included a fielding error by third baseman Brady House and a pass ball by catcher Jorge Alfaro. These were 2 bad teams on display on Tuesday evening in the Nats and the Marlins, but the Nats did win. Game 3 for the Nats at the Marlins, Wednesday evening at 6:40. Jake Irvin will be the Nats starting pitcher. Hey, if you run your own business, here is a game changer, Square. Square is an all-in-one business partner that makes your day-to-day easier. Think of Square as the business version of a Deebo Samuel or an Austin Eckler, an all-purpose weapon that can impact things in a variety of ways. So Square offers tools for every part of your business, from point-of-sale systems and payments to inventory and customer tools. Square brings everything together in one simple platform so you can stay organized, sell anywhere, and keep things moving. Square is easy to use. If you're not technology savvy, no problem. The software is incredibly straightforward and intuitive. You don't need special training. You could just set up Square and start taking payments quickly. Square is flexible. It adjusts to what you need. With Square, you choose the tools that you need and you use them when you want. No long-term contracts required. You could sell in person or online from one location or several. Square is built to move with you and adapt as your business grows. Square keeps up so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. And here's a great deal. You can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/Galdi. That's SQUARE.com/GO/GALDI. You can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/Galdi. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. Well, if you're like me, you care about your car, but you're not the biggest fan of having to get work done on your car. This is where Rhoda comes in. Rhoda is a DMV-based auto shop that makes taking care of your car so easy, it feels like magic. Rhoda has a team of best-in-the-business technicians who can service any make and model across any maintenance or repairs and detailing. With over 1,000 Google reviews, Best Auto Shop on Yelp, and Nextdoor awards, your neighbors are loving Rhoda, and you will too. Rhoda is tremendous. You can book any car service online in under 3 minutes. Rhoda offers free towing or valet. Rhoda literally will pick up your car and bring it to the shop in Rockville, Maryland, service the car, and return it to you. Over 80% of Rhoda services are done on the same day on which they're booked. Rhoda offers price matching, honest flat pricing, and financing. Rhoda offers free inspections on your car and shares everything found via video and pictures. Drivers approve only what they want to. Visit Rhoda.com, that's RODA.com, and use the promo code GALDI20 for 20% off any service. That's Rhoda.com, promo code GALDI20 for 20% off any service.
Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, and maybe even a whole new life. So why not start the journey today? There's over a dozen languages available to learn at your own pace so you can achieve your goals with material tailored to your individual proficiency level, interests, and time availability. I'm finally learning French after taking classes in high school and thrilled to finish what I'd started years ago. And my favorite part about Babbel is that it's dialogue-based. It helps me to actually practice conversations, and the speech recognition ensures I'm saying words correctement. So get talking with Babbel. I want you to learn another language, so I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/bluewire. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/bluewire, spelled BABBEL.com/bluewire. Babbel.com/bluewire. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Well, the Orioles now have won 7 of their last 9 games, and each of the team's last 3 wins has been a walk-off win. Tuesday evening, a 3-2 11-inning walk-off win over the Pittsburgh Pirates at Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Game 1 of a 3-game series. This was a game in which the O's blew a 2-1 ninth-inning lead, but the O's, Joe Angel, were back in the win column.
And the Orioles again in the win column.
Yes, Joe, the win column. The O's in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 67-77. Worst record in the American League East. The O's in this game scored just 3 runs, a total just 6 hits, worked 6 walks, went 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The 6 hits were a home run and 5 singles, and one of the singles was a walk-off single by Samuel Basallo, who had a walk-off hit for the second time in 4 games. He's the Orioles starting catcher and number 6 batter, went 1 for 5 with a walk-off RBI single. He hit an Orioles 1-run 11th, had a walk-off bases loaded opposite field RBI single to left field on a 1-2 pitch for a 3-2 Orioles win. The ball initially was ruled foul, but the call was reversed via replay review initiated by the crew chief. Also, Jeremiah Jackson, he is the Orioles starting right fielder and number 2 batter, went 2 for 3 with a solo homer, a single, and a hit by pitch, which was on his right elbow and did cause him to leave the game. But Jackson continues to hit. The O's this past November 25th signed Jeremiah Jackson as a minor league free agent. They on July 31st recalled him from AAA Norfolk. This is his age 25 season. He for the O's at the major league level this regular season, 127 plate appearances, OPS of 867. The Orioles starting pitcher in this 3-2 11-inning walk-off win over the Pirates on Tuesday evening was Kyle Bradish. He was really good. He allowed 1 run in 7 innings with 6 strikeouts. He gave up just 4 hits, which were a double and 3 singles. He issued 2 walks. He threw a lot of strikes, 81 pitches, 56 strikes, just 25 balls. So this was Bradish's 3rd start since the O's on August 26 announced having activated him from the 60-day injured list, which he had been on since March 21st due to Tommy John surgery that he underwent in June 2024. Bradish, over 3 starts, ERA at 2.65, whip of 0.94, 21 strikeouts versus 4 walks. Outstanding. The Orioles relief pitching in this 3-2 11-inning walk-off win over the Pirates on Tuesday evening overall was good, but gave up a big home run. 4 Orioles relievers combined to allow 1 run in 4 innings. Rico Garcia tossed a perfect top of the 8th. Yennier Cano allowed 1 run in 2/3 of an inning in blowing a save chance. He, in the top of the 9th, gave up a game-tying leadoff home run by Tommy Pham to left field to tie the game at 2. Keegan Aiken tossed a third of a scoreless inning, but he, in the top of the 9th, faced 3 batters and got 1 out as he issued back-to-back 2-out walks before generating a cold strikeout. And Dietrich Enns was superb. He tossed a scoreless and hitless top of the 10th and a perfect top of the 11th. Enns very much came through for the O's, but Yennier Cano continues to have a bad season. Cano at the major league level this regular season, 59 games, 52 into 3rd innings, ERA of 4.99, whip of 1.39. But the O's did win. Game 2 for the O's against the Pirates at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Wednesday evening at 6:35. Tyler Wells will be the Orioles starting pitcher. The Pirates starting pitcher will be their ace, Paul Skeens. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Thursday's show, episode 1153, will provide you with more on the Commanders, in-depth preview of their game at the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football at 8:15. Also on Thursday's show, we'll talk Nationals and Orioles. The Nats are at the Miami Marlins Wednesday evening at 6:40 in Game 3 of a 4-game series. The O's are home to the Pittsburgh Pirates Wednesday evening at 6:35 in Game 2 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you on Thursday.
You know, they'd be in meetings. I had a coach tell me that he'd ask Caleb Williams a question in a meeting, and he would just look at him and not say anything. Like, why are you asking me a question?
Honey, do not make plans Saturday, September 13th, okay?
Why? What's happening?
The Walmart Wellness Event. Flu shots, health screenings, free samples from those brands you like.
All that at Walmart.
We can just walk right in, no appointment needed. Who knew we could cover our health and wellness needs at Walmart?
Check the calendar, Saturday, September 13th.
Walmart Wellness Event. You knew.
I knew.
Check in on your health at the same place you already shop. Visit Walmart Saturday, September 13th for our semi-annual wellness event. Flu shot subject to availability and applicable state law. Age restrictions apply. Free samples while supplies last.